Hey, my name is James Nicholson and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I want to talk about the start of the landlord exodus, why that's actually picking up pace now, and the oversupply that's causing in the market. Could that actually impact house prices? Could that start bringing house prices down? Because an oversupply of stock, when you don't have the buyers to match up, could be the start of big problems for house prices. So in this video, we're going to talk about all of that. I'm going to talk about the difference between the north and the south in regards to this as well, and much more. So if you're new around here and you haven't done already, do subscribe to the channel over there and hit that bell notification. We're on the way to 38,000 subscribers. Help us get there a little faster. And let's get more people aware of this video right here. How do we do that? Simple. Smash like, tickle like, do something to that like button. That helps with the YouTube algorithm and massively helps the channel grow. So thanks to everyone that does that. So what is going on? Well, look, we've talked about this a lot. For at least a year now, we've been talking about landlords leaving the market, and 30% of them have already quit, and 50% of landlords surveyed said they're either considering leaving the market right now or at least reducing their portfolio. That's down to a number of things. We've done videos on that which you can go and check out, but in summary, it's down to tax being very excessive. It's down to EPCs, the energy performance certificates, where they're saying landlords might have to spend £15,000 per property. It's also down to the renters' rights bills, which a lot of landlords aren't comfortable with and feel if there's a problem with their property, they might not be able to get it back. So there's a real mix of things, but this is really a north-south divide on this topic, because right now, there's more landlords leaving the market in London, the southeast and the southwest. Those are the areas that are really being hit hard. Well, how hard? Well, there are at the moment, we are at a 12-year high. So we're at a 12-year high for stock listings at the moment. And that is not great. So what I mean by that is that the amount of new stock available is at the highest level. I mean, the houses for sale, the amount of houses for sale is at the highest level for 12 years. That's not great data. And what's also happening at that time is the amount of buyers is starting to slow now. So you'll see, and we've talked about it a lot on this channel, the market has been very busy in November, December, January, and even February this year. The market is busy, and that's due to the fact that stamp duty is going to rise significantly on April the 1st. So if you speak to any solicitor or estate agent, they have so many transactions that they're working diligently on right now to push those to completion, because people want to complete prior to that April 1st, especially first-time buyers, because they're going to have massive increases on the stamp duty that they pay, which is ironic when every government, when you listen to the budget from the Tories or from Labour, they all talk about first-time buyers, supporting first-time buyers. Well, the fact that you're increasing stamp duty the most on first-time buyers doesn't really follow suit with that. So in London and the South East, we've got a 12-year high in properties listed for sale at the moment. What we've also got is a lack of new buyers coming into the market. So everyone historically or in the past has decided, right, we're going to get our deal done prior to that stamp duty increase. But new inquiries to estate agents, new inquiries to solicitors and lenders are dropping quite rapidly. That means that you're going to have a ton of properties listed, and eventually those sellers will look at that and say, this isn't selling. I need to be more realistic with my price. And that means prices will inevitably drop. Now, the only thing that could really save this is if the lenders jump in fairly quickly, like they did last summer, and reduce mortgage rates. The Bank of England are going to be doing that on a much slower pace now, because the inflation data that we had about a week ago wasn't as good as we were expecting. In fact, inflation was much higher. We've also got stuff that's going to add to inflation in the next few weeks. We know the energy price cap came out this week. That's going to be higher than they were expecting as well. You've got water rates going up, you've got council tax going up, and you've also got a ton of businesses that are really struggling due to the fact that national insurance on them's gone up, business rates have gone up for them, energy's going up for them, and the minimum wage is going up. Just this week, you can see New Look is going bankrupt now, and I doubt anyone will rescue that. Maybe they'll take it to an online brand, but it won't be back as the high street as you're expecting. So look, we've got a 12-year high in listings. That isn't good. And a lot of those properties, when we look at the data, is properties that were previously for rent. Again, shrinking the rental market, which we've been talking about a lot here. Now, that's good for first-time buyers, but the first-time buyers are sitting out the market at the moment, waiting to see what happens with the stamp duty, waiting for the next budget to see if there's a reversal on that, new incentives to incentivize them to buy. So, what about yields, property yields? How are they looking at the moment? And so I just want to work out a few for you here and show you basically how much some of my properties are making at the moment. And so to get a yield on a property, you divide the annual rent, the annual rental income, by the property value and multiply it by 100. So here's one of my property deals. So the rent I achieve on one of my properties as a vanilla buy-to-let is £1,400. The property is worth £280,000. So with that, let's have a quick look. I need a calculator. I'm sorry, guys. 1,400 times 12, 16,800. So the annual rent is £16,800. So we divide that by the 280, and then we times it by 100. And so that property is in the southeast. It's in Hastings, if you want to know. And that property has a 6% yield. So not too bad. Let's look at a northern property that we've got, one that you've seen on this channel if you've been watching a while. And so we're now achieving a rent on a property in Doncaster of $750. It's gone up. Initially, when we took the property on 2 years ago, it was $575, I think. And then it went up to $600, $650. It's now at $750. So $750 times 12, I think it's 9,000. Yeah, £9,000. I did know that one. So 9,000 annually on the rent on that. The property is worth 100 grand. We bought it for 60. And we refurbed it. So we divide that 9,000 by 100,000 times by 100, 9%, right? So we've got a 9% yield on that property, and that's up north. So the exodus is in the south. Now, what are the averages with the north-south divide that landlords are getting? So in the south of England, the yields on average are just 3%, especially on new deals. If you just got a deal, then you're not going to have maybe the highest rent initially, and it takes a little while to build up. But they're not great. That's 3% isn't great. You can get better in a savings account. And that's why people are leaving and putting their money into savings accounts. So in the south, it's 3%. But in the north, the average is 12% in a lot of areas. So that's the sweet spots in the north. Not every single deal is going to stack up to that sort of level. But that is something that is really pushing more landlords in the south. It shows that the money you're making as a southern landlord isn't that great, and that's why people are leaving. Now, what you need to look at if you do have a property in the south is looking at things like renting it out as an HMO, renting it out as an Airbnb, renting it out as social housing. They can get you a better yield. But rents are dropping, and in the north, rents are fairly stable. But in London, rents have dropped by 0.5%. over the last few months. But what's interesting is there's one area in London, in Hounslow, rents are down 18%, 18.9% annually at the moment. It's just a cap. It couldn't go up anymore. And that meant that landlords had to reduce their pricing to get a tenant in the property. So if you were a landlord in Hounslow and you've had to drop your rent by that much, you're not going to stick around in that market. You're going to look to do something else instead. And that's what they're doing. And that's what we're seeing is people are leaving the market. So look, the fact here is we've got some data and we've got to keep an eye on this stuff. So right now, we've got a 12-year high in the southeast of listings. If that keeps carrying on and we don't get buyers to match those properties, which it looks like it's not likely to happen because of the stamp duty increase, and it's just going to be a slower market this summer, then we could start seeing prices drop. A crash is 10% in a year. Does it get that bad? I don't know. I think a lot of this is down to, do we get the mortgage rates coming down significantly to improve affordability, and that stimulates the market and keeps it going for a little while. But look, this shows that it's not always as great being a landlord as you might think. When you do need to buy a property, you need to invest in something that you can add value to. That's very, very, very important. Don't over leverage yourself. And if you want to know how to do that, invest in something like the fundamentals of property investing. It's under £29, and that will give you everything you need to know in order to do this stuff. Now, in truth, you could say I make 6% or 9%, but we actually make more on those because we don't have mortgages to 100 grand. We've got significant equity, and most of those properties, if you look at the cash that we put in and the cash we're generating, the return on cash is significantly better than those things because we've got fairly good leverage on those properties of around 50%, and that's what you need to do as well. If we leveraged all these properties up to 75% constantly, it could get quite risky, and that, especially in the south, is something you've got to make sure that you don't do. Anyway, let me know your thoughts and opinions. Are you staying in the market or are you leaving? Do smash like, do subscribe, do check out all the other content as well, including this video right here.